Join me as I dive deep into Anakin Skywalker's dark side secrets and see if I can uncover the truth behind his fall to the dark side. Anakin Skywalker is one of the most pivotal figures in the Star Wars saga, a hero of the Clone Wars and a legendary Jedi Knight, but beneath the surface of his heroism lay hidden secrets and a darkness that would ultimately consume him. Throughout his journey, Anakin faced internal conflicts that threatened to tear him apart, and it's in these struggles that we find the roots of his downfall. He was a complex character, torn between his duty as a Jedi and his own personal desires, and it was this internal turmoil that made him so vulnerable to the manipulation of others. As he grew in power and prestige, Anakin's insecurities and fears began to simmer just below the surface, and it was here that Palpatine sensed an opportunity to exploit his weaknesses. The Chancellor played on Anakin's fears, fueling his paranoia and tempting him with the promise of power and control. It was a delicate dance, one that Anakin was unaware he was even participating in, and yet it would ultimately lead him down a path from which there was no return. But Anakin's struggles weren't just internal. He was also faced with the pressure of living up to the expectations of others. As the Chosen One, he was burdened with the responsibility of bringing balance to the Force, a task that weighed heavily on his shoulders. And it was this sense of responsibility that made him so susceptible to Palpatine's manipulation, as he began to see the Chancellor as the only one who truly understood him. As we delve deeper into Anakin's life, we see key moments that shaped his destiny, from his tumultuous relationships with Obi-Wan and Padme to his pivotal decisions that would have far-reaching consequences. It was a complex web of influences, with external forces like Palpatine and Mace Windu pulling the strings, but at the heart of it all was Anakin's own inner turmoil. One of the most significant relationships in Anakin's life was with Obi-Wan Kenobi, his mentor and friend. But as the Clone Wars raged on, their bond began to fray, and Anakin grew increasingly disillusioned with the Jedi Order. It was here that Palpatine saw an opportunity to drive a wedge between them, playing on Anakin's sense of frustration and betrayal. Anakin's relationship with Padme was another factor that contributed to his downfall. His love for her was deep and profound, but it was also a source of fear and insecurity. He was haunted by visions of her death, and it was this fear that Palpatine exploited, promising to teach him the power to save her life. The influence of external forces was also a major factor in Anakin's descent into darkness. Palpatine was the master puppeteer, pulling the strings from behind the scenes, but Mace Windu and the Jedi Council also played a role, their suspicions and mistrust of Anakin pushing him further away from the light. The most significant turning point in Anakin's journey came when he was tasked with spying on Palpatine, but instead he revealed his true loyalties, pledging himself to the dark side. It was a moment of profound emotional and psychological impact, one that would have far-reaching consequences for the entire galaxy. As Anakin stood before Palpatine, his fate was all but sealed. He was consumed by a sense of darkness, his fear and anger boiling over into a rage that would drive him to commit unspeakable atrocities. It was a moment of no return, and yet it was also a moment of profound sorrow, for in that instant we saw the last glimmer of the Anakin Skywalker we once knew. The truth behind Anakin's fall to the dark side is a complex and multifaceted one, but at its heart lies a tragic tale of fear, anger, and the corrupting influence of power. He was a hero who fell prey to his own weaknesses, and it's in his story that we're reminded of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the importance of humility. Thanks for joining me on this journey into Anakin Skywalker's dark side secrets. If you want to learn more about the fall of the Jedi, be sure to check out my previous video, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below.